You won't believe what just went down. Carlos King, the media mogul behind Love and Marriage, Huntsville, found himself in the middle of a storm that no one saw coming. The drama unfolded so fast that fans could barely keep up. If you thought reality TV was chaotic before, think again. This wasn't just behind the scenes gossip. This was a full-blown scandal shaking the very foundation of the show. Let me tell you, this wasn't just about cast members having issues with their producer. This was bigger, deeper, and far more shocking than anyone could have expected. And the craziest part, it all started with a single live video. Melody Shari, one of the biggest stars on Love and Marriage Huntsville, went live on TikTok and dropped a bombshell so massive that it left fans speechless. She called out Carlos King, the very man who shaped the show from the beginning, accusing him of toxic leadership and manipulative behavior. But here's where it gets interesting. She didn't just make vague claims. She laid everything out, giving details about how Carlos had allegedly been running the show in a way that benefited him but hurt everyone else involved. According to Melody, he wasn't just a producer, he was a mastermind controlling the drama, twisting narratives and fueling chaos behind the scenes. She made it clear this wasn't just a reality show anymore. This was real life, and Carlos had taken it too far. What made this story different was the fact that Melody and Carlos weren't just co-workers, they had a history. For years, they worked together, building Love and Marriage, Huntsville, into one of the most talked about reality shows. Melody had been a key part of the show's success, and Carlos had always praised her as a strong, independent woman who brought realness to the screen. But now, that trust was completely shattered. Melody claimed that everything she had believed about the show and its leadership had been a lie. She wasn't just calling Carlos out for bad management. She was exposing what she saw as an entire system of emotional manipulation and behind-the-scenes deception. And this is where it gets even wilder. Melody didn't hold back at all. She went deep, talking about how the production team allegedly created conflicts, pushed cast members into uncomfortable situations, and stirred up personal issues just to keep the ratings high. Fans had always suspected that reality TV wasn't as real as it seemed, but hearing it from Melody herself changed everything. She revealed that certain fights weren't just natural disagreements, they were orchestrated. Private conversations were twisted to fit a certain storyline. And even worse, some of the biggest emotional moments in the show weren't entirely authentic. They were shaped by Carlos and his team to create the perfect storm for television. But here's the shocking part. Melody wasn't the only one feeling this way. As her words spread across social media, more people started speaking up. Former cast members who had left the show began to hint that they too had experienced something similar. They shared cryptic messages, subtle confirmations, and even direct support for Melody's claims. Suddenly, this wasn't just about one person's accusations, it was starting to look like a pattern. Now, this was no longer just about drama on a reality show. This was turning into a serious controversy that could change everything for Carlos King. Could he survive this backlash? Would Love and Marriage, Huntsville ever be the same again? The fallout had only just begun, and the stakes were getting higher by the minute. As soon as Melody's live video started spreading, the internet exploded. Fans of Love and Marriage, Huntsville were in complete shock, and within hours, social media was flooded with reactions. Some people were on Melody's side, believing every word she said and calling out Carlos King for his alleged manipulative ways. Others weren't so sure, arguing that reality TV has always been about drama and that Melody was just upset because things didn't go her way. But one thing was clear. This wasn't a small situation that would just blow over. This was getting bigger by the second. Carlos King, known for always being in control, suddenly found himself in an unfamiliar position. He was the one being put on blast. Normally, he was the mastermind behind the drama, the one pulling the strings from behind the scenes. But now, he was the main character in a real-life scandal. And the worst part, He stayed silent. No statement, no response, nothing. Just complete radio silence from the man who built his career on storytelling. But was it because he was guilty, or was he just waiting for the right moment to strike back? While Carlos remained quiet, more cast members started to react. Some of them played it safe, choosing not to get involved, while others couldn't resist dropping hints. Letitia Scott, one of the show's most controversial figures, posted a cryptic message on Instagram. The truth always comes out, one way or another. Fans immediately went crazy in the comments, trying to figure out what she meant. Was she siding with Melody? Was she warning Carlos? Or was she just stirring the pot for more attention? Nobody knew for sure, but the timing was suspicious. Meanwhile, Martell Holt, Melody's ex-husband and longtime co-star, also jumped in, but his response was nothing short of chaotic. Instead of directly addressing the drama, he posted a shady tweet that said, "Karma is real. Just sit back and watch." This only added more fuel to the fire because, as fans know, Martell has a long and messy history with both Melody and Carlos. Some people believed he was supporting Melody, while others thought he was just using the moment to get back at Carlos for personal reasons. Either way, his words made one thing clear: this situation was far from over. As the controversy continued to build, fans started digging deeper. Old interviews, behind-the-scenes clips, and past moments from the show were being analyzed like never before. People were looking for any signs that Melody's claims might be true, and to everyone's surprise, they started finding things that didn't seem so innocent anymore. Moments where cast members looked uncomfortable, arguments that seemed oddly timed, and situations where Carlos himself appeared to be influencing the drama. Suddenly, the show that everyone loved started to look a little different. But then, just when things were at their peak, an unexpected twist shook everything up. A former cast member, someone who had left the show under mysterious circumstances, came forward with new information, and what they revealed changed everything. The internet was already on fire, but when the former cast member spoke out, things went to a whole new level. It was none other than Destiny Payton, who had left Love and Marriage Huntsville under circumstances that never really made sense. Fans always suspected there was more to her exit, but she never spoke much about it until now. Destiny didn't hold back. In an exclusive interview on a popular podcast, she revealed that she had experienced similar treatment to what Melody was describing. According to her, Carlos King had a way of manipulating storylines, creating division among cast members, and making sure the drama stayed at an all-time high, even if it meant ruining real friendships. But the biggest bombshell came when she hinted that some scenes were completely staged. "People think reality TV is real," she said with a bitter laugh. "But trust me, what you see on camera and what happens behind the scenes are two very different things. And Carlos, he knows exactly how to play the game." Her words sent shockwaves through the fan base. If what she was saying was true, then Melody's claims weren't just a personal grudge. They were part of a much bigger problem. People started questioning everything they had ever watched. Was any of it real? Had Carlos been controlling the narrative this whole time? And if he was, then who else had been silenced? At this point, the pressure on Carlos King was unbearable. His name was trending everywhere, and media outlets were starting to pick up the story. Some even reached out to him for a response, but still nothing. No statement, no interview, not even a simple social media post. Just complete silence. And that silence only made things worse. Meanwhile, Melody kept the momentum going. She started sharing cryptic messages on Instagram, teasing that she had receipts to back up everything she said. Fans begged her to drop them, but she stayed mysterious, making everyone even more desperate to know what she was holding on to. But then, something unexpected happened. A leaked email surfaced online, an email allegedly from a Love and Marriage Huntsville producer. The email discussed how certain cast members were coached before filming, how specific fights were planned ahead of time, and how Carlos wanted to push certain storylines for ratings. If the email was real, it was undeniable proof that Melody was telling the truth. The internet exploded once again, and this time even Carlos's biggest supporters started questioning everything. But before anyone could fully process what was happening, a new twist turned the whole situation upside down. A high-profile celebrity, someone who had worked with Carlos before, suddenly stepped into the conversation, and what they had to say made everyone realize this scandal was far from over. Just when the situation couldn't get any more chaotic, the unexpected celebrity voice shook everything up. It was none other than Monique Samuels, the former star of The Real Housewives of Potomac and a key figure in Love and Marriage, DC. Her history with Carlos King was well known. She had once trusted him to handle her transition from Bravo to OWN, but things had clearly gone south. Monique didn't waste any time getting to the point. She went live on Instagram, her expression serious as thousands of viewers tuned in. "Y'all, I wasn't going to say anything," she began, shaking her head, "but seeing all this unfold, I can't stay silent anymore. Everything Melody said, everything Destiny said, let's just say I've been there." Her words hit like a sledgehammer. She didn't name names directly, but her message was clear. Carlos had played a major role in behind-the-scenes drama that went way beyond what fans saw on TV. She described moments where she felt manipulated, where private conversations were twisted into explosive storylines, and like how producers stirred the pot just to get reactions. But then she dropped the real bombshell. "At one point, I started feeling like my own life wasn't even mine anymore," she admitted. "I was being pushed into situations that made me uncomfortable. My marriage was being picked apart. And when I finally said enough, that's when things changed. That's when I became difficult." Sound familiar? Fans immediately connected the dots. Melody had said the same thing, how the moment she started setting boundaries, she became the problem. It was a pattern, and now more people were seeing it. The comment section exploded with support, but also anger. How many others had been put through this? And who else was scared to speak up? As Monique continued talking, another major twist hit the internet. A former Love and Marriage Huntsville producer who had worked closely with Carlos anonymously leaked a shocking claim. According to them, certain cast members had allegedly been threatened with contract issues if they refused to go along with certain storylines. They even hinted that there was a whole vault of unseen footage that told a very different story from what had been aired. The leak sent fans into a frenzy. If what this producer was saying was true, then it wasn't just about messy reality TV. It was about control, manipulation, and possibly even legal trouble. Carlos King still hadn't responded, but at this point, his silence was speaking louder than words. People started calling for OWN to investigate, demanding answers from the network that had built an empire on his shows. But before OBN could even release a statement, a new piece of evidence surfaced, one that would change everything. Someone had gotten their hands on an unaired clip, a raw, unedited moment that was never supposed to be seen. And when it leaked, it exposed everything. The internet was already on fire, but when the unaired clip leaked, everything exploded. This wasn't just gossip or speculation anymore. This was proof. The video, just under 2 minutes long, showed a behind-the-scenes conversation between Carlos King and a few producers. The quality was grainy, like it had been filmed in secret, but the audio was crystal clear. Carlos' voice came through first. "I don't care what she says. We need this moment. If she won't bring it up, push her until she does." A producer responded, sounding nervous. "She already said she doesn't want to talk about it on camera." Carlos scoffed. "And she's under contract. She wants to be on this show. She plays ball. If we have to feed it to someone else, then so be it." The clip ended abruptly, but the damage was done. It confirmed everything former cast members had been saying, that storylines were being forced, personal lives were being exploited, and that refusing to participate meant risking your spot on the show. Social media went into full meltdown mode. Fans who had once defended Carlos now started questioning everything. Celebrities and reality stars from other franchises weighed in, some showing support, others keeping quiet, maybe because they had their own stories to tell. Owen was forced to respond. They released a carefully worded statement saying they were looking into the matter, but the public wasn't satisfied. People wanted accountability. They wanted Carlos to address the clip. And then finally he did. Carlos went live on Instagram late at night, his face serious. He didn't deny the clip was real, but he downplayed it. Reality TV is a business, he explained, and sometimes tough conversations need to happen to make great television. But that excuse wasn't enough. Viewers weren't buying it anymore. They didn't see great television in that clip. They saw manipulation, pressure, and people being pushed beyond their limits. Then, out of nowhere, Melody Holt entered the live chat. Her comment was short, but it shook the entire conversation. "So you admit it now?" Carlos froze for a split second before laughing it off. But the damage had been done. Melody had publicly called him out in front of thousands of people, and there was no escaping it now. In the days that followed, the fallout was massive. More former cast members came forward, sharing their own stories. Fans started petitions demanding own-cut ties with Carlos. Sponsors quietly began pulling their ads from his shows. The empire he had built, the one that had made him one of reality TV's biggest names, was suddenly crumbling. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get any worse, Owen made an announcement that changed everything. Carlos King was officially out. His shows would continue, but without him. He had been quietly removed from production, his name erased from the credits. And just like that, the man who had built his career shaping other people's stories had lost control of his own. But the biggest twist, rumors started swirling that Melody Holt had been approached for a producer role. Owen hadn't confirmed anything yet, but if it was true, it meant the woman who had once been manipulated by the system was now being given the chance to change it from the inside. And that was a plot twist no one saw coming.